earlier, but we are talking about Kenice Mobley. Kenice Mobley, that is the name of the writer that the WWE hired who had no previous experience with wrestling. Now, I think people made way too much of this. Way too much of this. Yes, this was an intentional hire. Raw is lacking diversity in writing experience. They also had hired a black woman. So they hired based on needing diversity of race and gender, because they struggle to write things that respect the culture and the individuality and the individual personality of non-straight white men. So let's diversify, shall we? They also lack diversity in their presentation, because they've got people who've been fans of wrestling for years, so they're basically just rehashing the same stuff they grew up watching, because that's all they know. The WWE creative team, many of whom are wrestling fans, are constantly under attack for not being good enough. This is not just from fans. WWE management are taking their frustrations out on the Raw creative team a lot recently. A conscious choice was made to bring people in from outside of the usual fields, and somehow people are unhappy with that too. This was necessary. This was essential to try and find a way to present a product that you can enjoy. She was working for Raw, the product that's been really stale and crap recently and that no one's really enjoyed. So they wanted to try something different, and because they tried something different, she got a whole load of crap for it. The writer in question, Kenice Mobley, would have had a very, very awkward Monday, as she was extremely unpopular with WWE management, but I think we know that because she's already been released from her job. I don't know exactly when she was due to start, but it was after the 14th of June, so that's 12 days ago. She's been in the job less than 12 days, at most. The WWE have experimented with reality TV and comedy writers a lot recently, but their overall success level with writers seems to be getting worse and worse. The main reason, as I've been told, that she was released is because she apparently didn't clear the podcast interview in question before going on to it. Technically, she hadn't started the job before recording the podcast, and it was only after more than 2 weeks of completing the podcast and it being live and out there that somebody decided they needed to make a really big deal out of this. WWE talent, and this includes the creative team, are expected to clear any appearances before attending them. This is so that the WWE PR team can control the overall message coming out of the company. WWE PR are usually in attendance in some way during interviews to monitor proceedings. Any interview that I've conducted with WWE talent, if it's in person, somebody from WWE PR is right there. If it's via Zoom, somebody from WWE PR is right there in the call with you. They are always there, and this is very common across all big business. She did not inform the company that she was going to undertake this interview. Technically, it wasn't even during her employment, but this is apparently why Kenice Mobley has been released from the WWE. It is independent of all other releases, and essentially, she was never able to start work. She was never able to learn about wrestling. She never stood a chance.